Yes, sir. We would like to remind you of your oath.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cham. You've been summoned this time in relation to the AU villas, just so that we can clarify some issues relating to that. And there were still some outstanding matters on previous evidence that you had given before this commission. Can I have the exhibits, please? Evidence before this commission shows that Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation purchased houses or villas, as they are called, from Tough Holdings Limited. You are aware of this?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll just show you an exhibit. How many villas did Social Security purchase?
We acquired 20 villas.
20?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you MS 138, which is an agreement dated 9th August 2006 between Tough Holding Company Limited and Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation. Could you confirm whether that's the sale agreement in respect of the 20 villas that Social Security purchased?
Yes, ma'am. This is the hereby confirm that this is the sales agreement between Social Security and Tough Holding for the acquisition of 20 houses.
That is a copy of the agreement?
Yes, a copy of the agreement, that's right.
Was there any reason why Social Security purchased these 20 villas?
Well, it was related to investment decision by the then management.
Did it have anything to do with the office of the president?
No, I have not seen any correspondence regarding to this thing from the office of the president directing Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation to acquire these houses.
You were not in the office at the time?
Well, I was not in the office, but I've gone through the files when I was initially asked to come here and then as a witness regarding to this acquisition of houses from Tough and Holdings. I've gone through the files, but I've not seen any correspondence from the office of the president directing the corporation to acquire these houses from Tough Holdings.
Who was the managing director at the time?
It was Mr. Tumbul Danso.
Okay. So you are saying it was a business decision?
Yes.
All right. Is that the only agreement that you have? What happened? Sorry, okay, that's fine. I'll come back to that. What happened to the 20 villas?
Yes, we acquired 20 of these villas in 2006, and later in 2007, we sold 3 to 3 different banks. That was Ajib, Guarantee Trust Bank, and Access Bank. And the balance of 17 was sold to the Gambia government through the Ministry of Finance.
Why was it sold to Gambia government? Is there any reason?
Well, according to the file, there are correspondence between Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation and the Ministry of Finance during that time. The ministry showing interest for the acquisition of this plot, these houses, and then there were correspondence between the two institutions, of which an agreement was reached between the ministry and the corporation, whereby the sale took place in 2008.
Again, I ask, did the office of the president have anything to do with that transaction?
No, the correspondence was between the corporation and the Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs only.
You have the correspondence?
Yes, I have some correspondence regarding to the sale of the 17 plots to the Ministry of Finance.
Was there a sale agreement?
There is an agreement, a formal agreement between the corporation and the ministry regarding to payment terms and then the cost of the 17 plots to the sale of the 17 houses to them.
A sale agreement was signed. Is that what you're saying?
Okay, one of the letters has mentioned a sale agreement, but I could not actually find the actual sales agreement. But it was mentioned in one of the letters signed by Mr. Tumulke Danso.
Okay. How much were you sold? How many? 17.
Yes, 17.
For how much?
At $67,830,000.
Okay. Did you make a profit?
Well, these houses were sold to government at cost, at the cost price.
Cost price?
Yeah, of $3,990,000. That's the cost we acquired it from Tough Holdings. In fact, the 20 houses cost the corporation about $79,800,000 at a price of $3,990,000 per house.
Okay.
And then out of that 20, we sold 17 to government at a cost price of $67,830,000 to be paid over a period of 3 years, from 2008 to 2010. That was the agreement we reached with the government.
At cost and without interest?
Without interest, yes, just the cost, yeah.
All right. I just would like to show you Exhibit SC47, which is one of the resolutions from Exhibit SC47, a walkabout resolution. And could you confirm, because this resolution, it says subject purchase of 20 presidential villas from Tough Holdings. And the board was being informed that after an appraisal of the houses, management reckoned a return of not less than 18% per annum, which is above the Treasury bill rate of 14.5%. I'm just going to show you so we tie up the evidence, since if the President's office was not involved, the Commission is probably not interested, but so that we can tidy up the evidence. Do you recognize that resolution?
This is the first time I'm seeing this resolution.
It was tendered by Mr. Foon from your office as part of the walkabout resolutions.
Well, if it was tendered by Mr. Foon, definitely it originated from the office, but I've not seen it before. That's the first time I'm seeing this document.
But you can see the rationale is that you were going to make a margin. Yeah, and you're telling us you did not make any margin on the 20 houses. In fact, you made a loss.
Yeah, the 17, we did not make any margin. We sold them to government at cost price. So there was nothing like margin regarding to that sale.
Don't you consider that as selling at a loss?
Yes, based on this walkabout resolution, definitely we sold it at a loss.
Okay. All right.
Because the expectations were at least to, talking of a margin of 14.5 and that's against 18.4% per annum. So really, there was no margin regarding to the 17 houses sold to government.
Did government pay for the 17 houses?
Yes, they did pay. The total payment they made to date was about $67,800,000. So there is still an outstanding balance of $30,000 to date.
Have you pursued it?
To be honest, not quite. The outstanding listing up to 2015 was about $7,830,000. So what we got from government was $7,800,000.
Okay. All right. Can you put together the documents that you have from your office regarding, could you collect the exhibit, please, regarding this matter so that we can complete our file?
I did mention the other plots sold to other banks, fine. Because sometime in 2017 June, the State Intelligence Service knocked at our office. They make inquiries regarding to these AU villas, especially the 3 plots that was sold to various banks. And then there was a response to that effect. A copy of that letter is also attached on the documents I have on my custody.
Why don't we have the originals? Did you sell to the banks at a profit?
What I saw here is also at a cost, really. If you check against the actual amount spent on the 20 houses, against what we receive from both government and the various banks, the sale on profits is about $879,500. And that was the bank. That's where we make that profit.
Can you check the unit price?
Sorry?
The unit price of sale to the banks and tell us whether you sold to the banks at a loss.
The one we sold to Ajib, we sold it to Ajib at $4,340,000. Access Bank, $4,169,500. And Guarantee Trust Bank, $4,340,000.
And how much did you buy them for from GNPC?
From
TAF, yes.
We bought them at 3,990,000.
So you made a marginal profit on your sales to the bank?
Yeah, to the bank of $879,500.
All right, thank you. Just give us the documents. Mr. Cham, when you were here, I think I have time. Let me tender this. Mr. Chairman, may I apply to have admitted? We already have the sale agreement, so you can keep your copy.
Okay.
Or maybe we'll take it for our files. Thank you. Correspondence? Between Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation. And TAF Holdings Limited, as well as the Ministry of Finance, with regard to the purchase of 20 villas from TAF by Social Security and the transfer of 17 villas from Social Security to government.
Correspondence relating to 17 AU villas at TAF Burfoot Garden, dated from 19th March 2008 to 13th June 2017, admitted Mag SC 54.
Thank you, Mr. Cham. Unless you have any questions, I'm going on to another subject.
Mr. Cham, can you just help us understand some of the investment decisions? Originally, why did SSHFC purchase the villas?
I think, as I said earlier, you know, during the time of acquisition, I was not even in town. Right then, I was in UK studying and that sort of thing. But according to the board walkabout resolution, I think it relates to investment decision by management and then forwarded to the board and then the board approved. Based on that walkabout resolution, you can see that they've mentioned, you know, returns regarding to this proposed investment. I think based on those things, that was why the board approved that particular investment.
So if it was an investment, the idea is to go long term, not short term. So the question now is, what was the pressure? Why did you sell it to government? And why at cost?
Honestly, I cannot answer that question. I don't know why they sell it at cost. It was a decision above my level for Social Security money to sell government at cost. The only thing I can do now was to provide the evidence regarding to the sale that took place between Social Security and the government. And I don't know how they arrived to that decision by selling it to government at cost. Maybe the then management would be in a better position to explain those things.
Okay. So, from the standpoint of the corporation, it was not about missed opportunities. Because if you held, the appreciation kicks in, and then you make profit.
Exactly.
So, is it possible that the original purchase was done on behalf of government?
Well, I honestly don't know, because there are no correspondence regarding to Social Security and government asking Social Security to acquire those plots on their behalf. You know, so I would not say that. I definitely can answer that question, because I've not seen correspondence regarding to that.
Okay. So it's all done without any history as to the justification. I mean, as an investment manager, it may have interested you to go in and find out the rationale, but there was no pressure or no opinion expressed in some of your boards as to why this happened.
This happened. Yeah, there's no indication to that effect, because if you go through the walkabout resolution, there's nothing on that walkabout where a board member says why, or against the proposed investment and that sort of thing. But what I thought is probably an appraisal was done. Because if you go through the walkabout resolution, you could see the write-up of the walkabout resolution. It seems that an appraisal was done. And that might convince the board for them to approve it, because they were talking of profit margin, certain percentage, and investment and that sort of thing. So really, an appraisal must have been done.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Cham, I'll just take you back to Gambia Oil. You had presented some documents which we haven't had an opportunity to have admitted. I'm going to give you those documents now and just go through it again. The question that I have for you is in relation to what Guarantee Trust Bank called the reversal of the transaction.
Yeah.
Now, it would appear your managing director had written on the 28th January 2016 to the bank regarding this transaction. Could you just explain the reversal of the transaction and the demand made by the managing director? Also, that let me leave it to you to explain.
Yeah.
Yes, these documents. I think it's better. All right, could you give these to Mr. Cham?
See those documents first.
Those are documents that you provided to us.
Yeah, but I don't know. With this, the attachments on the walkabout resolution, the walkabout resolution is saying purchase of Gambia Oil Company. And the attachment here is saying to provide guarantee for $2 million. That's the attachment. So these are two different
Mr. Cham, did you provide those documents?
No, I think it was Babukar Foon.
You didn't provide
No, I did not.
That document. All right, the resolution maybe is from the SC47 file. You can put that one aside. We'll check the rest of the documents.
Yeah, these documents are in relation to the guarantee we provided for the $2 million loan to KGI.
KGI, yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, the evidence before this commission is that Guarantee Trust Bank refunded Social Security.
Yes.
The amount that had been debited from your account in realization, I suppose, of the amount that had been advanced to KGI and which remained unpaid and which Social Security had guaranteed.
Yeah.
That's correct. Now, those documents that you provided, there is a letter from the MD requesting that interest be paid. Can you just look at it and confirm?
Oh, you mean the workings regarding...
No, the letter from your MD, Mr. Graham, to Guarantee Trust Bank, demanding that the money be paid back.
Yes, the money to be paid back, yeah?
Can you look at the last line of that letter?
Therefore, advise to take up the matter with those who took the...
It's a single letter from your office to Guarantee Trust Bank.
Well, okay, let me read the letter. You want me to read the letter here? The letter from Social Security, this was dated 28 January 2016. I hope you're talking of the same letter.
I hope so too.
Yeah. Addressed to the Managing Director of Guarantee Trust Bank, Kariba Avenue. The subject matter was Guarantee Trust Bank Facility Guarantee. Your letter without reference dated 28 December 2015 refers, management have made inquiries about the transaction leading to this facility and found out that KGI has nothing to do with the $2 million credit facility in question. Consequently, management have been instructed to withdraw from the transaction as was stated since 2012. You are therefore advised to take up the matter with those who took the loan without authorization and expedite the restoration of the corporation fixed deposit together with the total interest accrued.
All right. My question is, when GT Bank refunded that money to Social Security, did they pay any interest?
No, they didn't. Just the principal amount of 80 million. Initially, they debited our account with the sum of 80 million, and they returned 80 million. And those monies were, it was a liquidation from our term deposit with the bank. So definitely, normally term deposit accrue interest, If the money was there until that time, then definitely it would have accrued interest up to the time. But for now, it has a lapse of about 6 months. At the time they debited our account and the time they refund the money. So that 6 months lapse, there's no interest accrued on that. No interest was paid to us.
Did you demand that they pay the interest?
Well, we started working on it. I remember doing workings regarding to the interest due.
Did you demand interest?
We did not actually demand, wrote to the bank.
Have you worked out how much the interest would be?
Sorry?
Have you calculated the interest that ought to have been, accrued to your account?
Yes, ma'am, we did.
You did. And you have the calculation?
Yes.
All right. Who calculated it?
Our treasury manager did the calculation, and then it was sent to me for my review, and it was in line based on the calculations he made. And then the total interest due for those term deposits liquidated was about 7.7 million.
Can you be precise since it was calculated?
Sorry?
Can you be precise since you're saying it was calculated about the figure?
Yeah, this...
how much is exactly the figure? The figure you got as accrued?
The accrued interest for the two investment is $7,740,575 butut.
That's what you ought to have realized from the investment.
On that investment.
And you have that document. Could you sign it?
Inam by Sar sign it and then send to me, and I okay it. Yeah.
Could you endorse it, please?
Yeah.
Could you endorse the document? Sign it and date it today.
Okay. All right.
All right, can I have all the documents that you've referred to? That's the letters and the calculation of interest,
okay.
Yes. Thank you. Mr. Chairman, may I apply to have admitted correspondence between Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation and Guarantee Trust Bank Limited in relation to the KGI credit facility guaranteed by Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation and the reversal, according to Guarantee Trust Bank, of the amount debited from the Social Security accounts. I also apply to have admitted calculations prepared by Social Security and Housing Finance Corporation. In particular, this witness, Abdoulie Cham, of the interest which ought to have accrued on the $80 million debited from their accounts.
memo dated 15th November 2017 from Inambaisa, Treasury Manager, to the Director of Finance and Investment of SSHFC, calculating loss of income on liquidated term deposit with Guaranteed Trust Bank for credit facility guarantee to KGI amounting to $80 million plus related correspondence and Guaranteed Trust Bank statements admitted mark SC55.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have any further questions for Mr. Cham on these issues.
Mr. Cham?
Yes.
Just a quick question. Okay. You confirmed to us that, and we've seen evidence of that, the GTB held on to $80 million for over a period of time, I think roughly about 6 months, which you mentioned that no interest was also paid on that. Can you tell us why, when they returned the money back, they deposited the credited account of Social Security again, why they were not followed up to pay for interest, considering that this is pensioners' funds again? What was the rationale behind that? We just need to understand.
Well, I guess on the letter written to them earlier requested for the payment of interest, which they did not. But we did not make a follow-up regarding to the earlier letter requesting for the interest accrued on that 80 million, of which I believe that we will pursue. I had discussion with a manager at the Trust Bank, Guaranteed Trust Bank, regarding to this accrued interest. And definitely he mentioned to us that probably they could consider paying it, but currently the issue is on the commission. It's currently on the commission, and then if they are to pay it, they will pay Social Security and then debit KGI account. So it's a matter for us now to take it up from now and then write to Guaranteed Trust Bank to request for that accrued interest for that 80 million. We thought, you know, it was on the commission. We wanted to wait until the commission is through with this thing. We did so. In fact, it was Madam Ami who asked us to do the calculation regarding to this accrued interest. That was the time we did it, and then, you know, well, so that they can deal with it on the commission of inquiry.
Okay, it's quite interesting because I don't believe that the commission has anything to do with that. Again, these are pensioners' funds. So if they wrongly debited the account of Social Security and the money was returned, then I think the owner should have been on Social Security to go after that funds. So really, by anyone saying it's the commission, the matter is before the commission, I think that's completely irrelevant in my view. Because I think really one has to go after the money. It was a fixed deposit. They would have paid you interest at the end of the day. So really, I think this is something that one just has to be proactive and get the funds.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. During the initial liquidation of those investments, they paid the interest accrued up to the time of liquidation. And then from that, they debited our account of 80 million. For us, with the assumption that, you know, that was the end of the case. But afterward, management, you know, step up, did some consultation with Office of the President, you know, you will see the correspondence and that sort of thing. That was the time they returned the 80 million principal. You know, and then you could see there is a particular letter which the managing director was requesting for the interest accrued on that, you know, liquidated investment. But nothing was not done. But, you know, we assume that since this matter was with the commission, we said, okay, we should allow the commission to deal with this issue, and then we do a follow-up. But I think we will do the follow-up now.
Okay, no, that's fine. Once it's followed up on, yes, then take it from there. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, may I make it very clear that the fact that the Commission made orders doesn't mean that any corporation or individual should not further its interests. That should be made very clear. Okay. All right?
Yeah.
Very well.
Sir, can I make a point here?
Yes, make a point.
We had issues with various public enterprises regarding to these non-performing loans. I can give you a case regarding to NAWEC, currently owing the corporation over 900 million. We've written to them, threatening them to take them to court. We got a response from them. On that particular response, they said, okay, they cannot do much because the issue is on with the Commission of Enquiries now.
And now the point here is the Commission is not an excuse not to do what a corporation is supposed to do.
Yeah.
Move forward with your normal business.
Okay.
Do not stop what you're supposed to do because things are under investigation from the Commission.
Yeah.
We seek clarification, we make recommendations.
Yeah.
It will not affect the normal functioning. You cannot hold on to statements or activities or transactions because it's under investigation. Our idea is to shed light on what happened and make recommendations therefrom. But it shouldn't mean stop what you're doing, don't give full statements because it's under investigation. Don't lend to corporations and do your business as usual because of that. We are in 2018. You can't stay not do business because it's under investigation. This is about past practices, activities that need clarification and recommendations therefrom. So please, nobody should hide under the Commission and stop doing their BAU. Not the banks, not even SSHFC. We're not stopping anybody from doing what they're supposed to do, as long as they're doing the right things. And you are guided by your principles, your procedures, your manuals, and whatever. I hope that is clear.
Yeah, it's very clear. I fully understand. We will pursue the bank regarding.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I have no further questions.
You have no further questions?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Very well.
The day is 5 minutes to go.
Thank you, Mr. You may go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's time anyway. Well, it's time. We'll rise until tomorrow at 10 o'clock.